I'm going to show you how to replace a fill valve on a toilet. If the fill valve won't fill, or if the float on the fill valve is properly adjusted and the water in the tank is spilling over top of the overfill tube, then it is likely that the fill valve needs to be replaced. I'll be installing a 400A Fluidmaster universal toilet fill valve into a regular flush toilet. Ensure that you have selected the correct fill valve for your toilet. Installing the incorrect fill valve into a toilet can waste up to a gallon of water per flush or cause poor performance. Turn off the water. Flush to empty the tank. Use a sponge and bucket to remove any excess water from the bottom of the tank. If there is an additional chain from the fill valve, disconnect it. Disconnect the refill tube. Disconnect the water supply line from the fill valve by turning it counterclockwise. Remove the fill valve from the tank. Place the shank washer onto the bottom of the fill valve. Adjust the height of the valve by turning it counterclockwise. Hold on to the gray body and turn the black tube counterclockwise. Adjust the height of the fill valve so the top of the fill valve is 3 inches above the top of the overfill tube. The critical level mark on the fill valve must also be 1 inch above the top of the overfill valve. If you have this, the top of the fill valve 3 inches above the overfill tube, that will automatically set the critical level to the correct position. If the top of the fill valve has to be adjusted so high that you can't put the tank cover on, your overfill tube is probably too high and that needs to be cut down. I have a video that will show you how to cut this down without removing it. Look in the box below this video for a link. Position the fill valve so that the refill tube outlet lines up with the overfill tube. Then take the lock nut and put the large flat side towards the bottom of the tank. Hold the fill valve and turn the locking nut clockwise until it meets resistance. When the lock nut reaches resistance, turn it about another quarter turn. Don't use any tools, just hand tighten it, because all you need to do is to compress this rubber washer on the bottom of the fill valve. If you over tighten it, you can either break the nut or possibly crack the tank. Install the refill tube clip so that the hole is centered over top of the overflow tube. Install the refill tube onto the nipple of the fill valve. Trim off any excess tubing and place the other end onto the clip. Use the refill tube clip. If you simply push the refill tube hose down into the overflow fill tube, it can act as a siphon and waste a lot of water. Adjust the float. The float determines the water level in the tank. Turn the knob counterclockwise to lower the float and clockwise to raise it. The float has a 2-inch range. I'm going to adjust mine as low as possible and give it a test flush and see if it works out okay. Reconnect the supply line to the fill valve. Don't over tighten it, just hand tight until it meets resistance. Turn the water on. Ensure that the water from the refill tube is going into the overfill tube. After the tank has filled, do a test flush. Adjust the float, lower or higher if needed. I hope you found this video helpful. A thumbs up is always appreciated. And thanks for watching.